Here's why personal development continues to fail you. So this morning, I was sitting in my red light sauna doing my morning, just like somatic practice and sitting with myself. And I decided to put on a Dr. Joe Dispenza meditation. And I haven't done his meditations in years because they never really worked for me. Put on this meditation. I'm like, okay, this is going to be great. Tune into myself. And literally the first words that came out of his mouth was, leave your old self behind and step into limitless potential. And I immediately hit the pause button and I was like, no, I don't want to do this meditation. And it really hit me of this is what is going wrong in the personal development industry, in the inner healing transformation industry. And it's actually creating the opposite of what creates real healing, what creates real lasting shifts. And it's that most personal development is accidentally teaching people to completely abandon themselves. So, hello, if you're new here, I'm Courtni Allison. I am a nervous system coach and somatic transformation mentor. And I've been in the personal development industry personally and professionally for over a decade. I've seen it all. I've tried it all. I've done the Tony Robbins Unleash the Power Within events, all the books, all the state changes. I've done the Dr. Joe Dispenza work. I've done the meditations. I've done the, reading of the books and trying to change my mindset and trying to overcome my emotions. All of the journaling, all of the manifestation work, all of it. And while some of it, yes, is very powerful and can be very transformative and helpful, for me personally, it never created lasting change. It never really helped shift anything real inside of me. It was just momentary, very fleeting things that felt like I was getting to. And what I've realized over the years, now as a nervous system coach, deep in the emotional healing, emotional transformation space, is most of the personal development industry, the transformation industry, is really built on one core assumption. And that core assumption is that who you are now is the problem. Your current behaviors are the problem. Your current thoughts are the problem. Your current feelings are the problem. Who you are is wrong. And you need to go and change essentially who you are, right? In that Dr. Joe Dispenza meditation, he's like, leave your old self at the door, and you're stepping into a new self. AKA, you got to get rid of who you are and become something totally new. They're selling the solution as being someone else is what's going to help you. But what I've experienced is that belief is what actually keeps us fragmented. It's what actually keeps us stuck in the same patterns, in the same, thoughts and spirals. And it actually keeps us at war with ourselves rather than the healing force that we actually are supposed to be for ourselves. So I really see it as this personal development trap. Okay, think about like the messaging of the personal development world, of the, inner healing world. Change your state. You just have to change your state, right? You just have to change what's going on inside of you. You just have to rewrite and journal and, rewrite the limiting beliefs. You just have to leave the old self behind. You just have to change the habits. Just step into your higher self. That's my favorite one. Right? Just look ahead, think about something higher, and leave all of what's going on here. Just leave it behind. Just forget about it. On the surface, at the time, it can feel very empowering because we're in this place of just maybe pain and suffering and discomfort, and we're searching for anything to get out of it. Right? So it's like, oh, if I just have to journal about this, if I just have to focus on something greater and focus on, leaving this old self behind, a lot of us attach ourselves to that. But underneath that, what I've witnessed is there's this subtle violence that we do to ourselves. Like the parts of you that are struggling, those are wrong. The parts of you that are afraid, that do feel the fear, those are something wrong about you. You just have to overcome them. The parts of you that maybe people please or procrastinate or self-sabotage or shut down, those need to just be eliminated. So what we do is we start pitting ourself against ourself. We start seeing every little thought and every little feeling as something wrong about us. In essence, we're just constantly trying to personal develop or outgrow or override, or sometimes even like completely spiritually bypassing, emotionally bypassing the very parts of us internally that are wounded. They are holding pain. Now, I used to go to events like Tony Robbins' Unleash the Power Within, and I would get so hyped up. I would get so excited for feel unstoppable. Okay, I'm going to change these things about myself. I'm finally going to step into my power. I'm finally going to, transform my life. And I would just feel like on a high. And I would come home and eventually that feeling would go away. And I'm like, right back into the same patterns, right back into the same thoughts, right back into, the uncomfortable emotions. I would keep thinking, what am I doing wrong? Why am I failing at this personal development game that like everybody else seems to be, thriving with? And it really took me years of getting reconnected back to my body and back to my nervous system to realize those were just very temporary highs. Those were just surface level little band-aid solutions on the very real thing that was happening inside of me. And this is what a lot of the personal development industry and people in there, they never really explain, and maybe they're not sure of it themselves, but your patterns, your current behaviors, your current fears, your current limiting beliefs, those are not something that is wrong with you. Those are not things that you just can journal your way out of. Those are not things that you can just mindset your way out of and leave behind and step into a new self. These are actual, real, frozen in time pieces of your emotional wounds that never really got felt, never really got healed, right? These are nervous system patterns, nervous system strategies that you learned at a very young age. Most of what we're trying to overcome and fix and regulate and personal develop our way out of now as adults were developed, were formed and created when we were young. They are our unmet needs on a very deep level, on the subconscious level, on the nervous system level. They are unprocessed emotions, unresolved experiences, maybe little micro tears, little micro traumas that we experienced when we were young that we didn't know how to really integrate and resolve and feel our way through. So they literally, this energy literally gets trapped and frozen in our body, in our muscles, in our tissues, in our, organs, in our entire body. It gets trapped and creates these feedback loops within our brain, within our nervous system. And we create these stories of who we are, of what we believe about the world. It literally is how we start perceiving the world. It's all here trapped inside of our body. A lot of them become these parts of us, okay? And a lot of them are fragmented pieces of us. So when a meditation tells you to just become someone new, to just leave your old self behind, you don't actually then heal those parts. You abandon them. They stay unresolved. They stay fragmented. And so you might go and do this meditation and, feel like you're making shifts forward. And then when you revert, and then when you, take 10 steps back and you're wondering, why do I keep self-sabotaging? Why do I keep feeling this way? I've done the meditations, I've done this. Why does this keep happening? It's because you're not actually getting to the core of what's going on. And so we have to stop abandoning ourselves to try to make someone new. And it's about returning back to those parts of us that have been fragmented, that are wounded, that are still in the shadows running the show. So this is why I am not about becoming someone new, just creating new habits and creating new patterns and creating new stories. I teach In my courses, in my certification, I really teach what I call the return. Real transformation, real inner healing doesn't come from changing who you are. It's about reclaiming and returning back to who you had to leave behind. It's about returning to those wounded inner parts of you, probably from when you were a very young person that is still afraid, that still has these stories of who you thought you were supposed to be, what you learned to keep you safe, what your nervous system disconnected from in order to survive and to get through these things. So it's about returning and turning towards those parts of us that are scared. It's about working with and understanding, why do I have this feeling here? What is this sensation trying to tell me and show me in my body? Reclaiming those parts of us that do feel shut down in a certain area of our life, and looking at the parts of us that are trying to hide, that are trying to stay small, that are hypervigilant, that are frozen. This is where our behaviors stem from now as an adult. We don't do this through, I have to fix this. This is bad. This is wrong. We do it with curiosity. We build it with a new sense now of safety, of connection, of presence with ourselves. So it's never about, I have to become someone new. I have to step out of this self and try to discover and try to become something new, something that's greater, something that's more limitless than what I am now. No, it's about coming back into the body and realizing what we're trying to find and search for through all of the personal development, through all of the healing, is wholeness. We're trying to feel real and whole and connected again. But we don't do that by saying what's happening here is bad, and so I need to go find something new. It's, wow, what's happening here is real and true. And I need to be with and work with and bring safety and love and connection back to my body, back to all of the emotions, all of the sensations, all of the stories, all of the things that I went through as a young person. So a lot of it is, instead of asking, like, how do I get rid of this behavior? How do I get rid of this feeling? We ask, what is this part here to tell me? How am I trying to protect myself in this? What do I need in this? This is how wholeness happens. The thing that we're all truly searching for. Not by becoming someone new, someone that we think we're supposed to be, but coming back to the return to what's real and true inside of us. And this is really why I am such an advocate for the somatic work, because the body is the way back. This is how we return, not up here in our, but here. Okay. You cannot think your way to wholeness. The parts that have been abandoned, they're not living necessarily up in your thoughts. They live in your body. They live in your nervous system, in your emotional somatic memory. This is why things like talk therapy, mindset work, journaling, meditation, like, you'll hit a certain ceiling, you'll hit a certain point where it's like, I can't keep just staying up in my head trying to think my way out of this. I literally have to reconnect back to what's going on inside of me. So the body is where the work is done. The body is where the protection was created. It's where it continues to live, and it's where integration happens. So I want you to know, like, you don't have to become someone new. You just need to come home to yourself. And I will catch you on the next one. Bye.